What's up, YouTube? Tech Guy Hodge here, and yes, it happened. Apple has announced the brand new iPad. And so in this video, I won't be really going over what happened in the whole keynote, but I will go to what you want to hear about, and that is what's in the new iPad and how it differs from the previous. Starting off, it's called, wait for it, the new iPad is called, drumroll, the new iPad. As you can see from the website, it is called the new iPad. Throughout the whole keynote, they never mentioned the word iPad 3 at all. They kept going with the new iPad. So that is basically what they're calling it, which I guess is a good thing, because when you go into the store, most likely you want the latest thing. So if someone goes in saying, "Hi, I want the iPad," they will just be shown the latest one, unless they know that the iPad 2 is still around. So that's a bit clever. It's a bit of a, I wouldn't say, I don't know if it's Apple playing on the fact that if people just walk in and say they want an iPad, they'll just be shown the latest one, more money for Apple. So I don't know, but if you're watching this and you don't know, the iPad 2 is still going. They're still selling it. They've just, whatever prices it was previously, is now £100 less, or $100, I think, depending on where you live. So I would go onto the store, and because the store is back, so if you want to place your orders, do it now before it crashes. Me personally, am I ordering it? I'll let you know at the end of the video. But I won't go into the store, but I will go on to where it says iPad, because this way we can compare what the previous one has compares to the new one. So so that's the new iPad, and that's iPad 2. So first off, in the previous one, they had an A5 chip, which was a dual core, and in the new one, they've got an A5X, which is still a dual core chip, but it has quad core graphics. So obviously that helps with the Retina display and a lot of other gaming, because now, as they showed in the keynote, there's a lot of high intent games which use a lot of graphics, so to support that. And yes, you did hear me right, the new iPad has the Retina display, which came with the iPhone 4, and it stuck with the 4S, and now it's in the new iPad. So let's get onto the display. So this, previously it was a 1024 by 768 pixel resolution at 132 pixels per inch, and now it's 2084 by 1536 pixels resolution at 264 pixels per inch. That is a major difference. And even they said in the keynote, they said the projectors you're seeing behind us are not basically the iPad, the new iPad, has more pixels per inch and a higher resolution than the projectors they were projecting the keynote on, where they were showing the pictures of the iPad and the videos. So even they said that this is not a true representation of how the iPad 3, I'm just going to call it the iPad 3 because it is the third generation. So they did say that this is not going to be able to represent fully what the iPad 3 screen will look like when you actually have it in your hands. And so what else? Everything else is still the same: fingerprint resistant coating, support for display of multiple languages and characters. Just one more thing about the display. So because it is such a high definition let me start again. I'm not going to edit that because I can't. Well, okay. Because it is such a high display, with the iPhone you have to have, I think it was, you have to hold it 10 inches. As long as you're holding it around 10 inches away, or even a bit closer, you won't see any pixel fragmentation, or any kind of, basically you wouldn't be able to see any kind of pixels, like when you zoom into a picture and you see the pixels getting fuzzy, that you won't see that. With the new iPad, it's 15 inches away. I don't know how much that would be. I don't know. However far you hold your iPad, even if you hold it a bit closer, you won't see any kind of pixel fragmentation. I don't know if that's the word, but yeah. So going down to the cameras, they did update the cameras. So in the previous one, they never really said how many megapixels it was in terms of pictures. Okay, it was 720p HD video, but people were saying that it wasn't even a megapixel, or it was like 1 point something, something ridiculous. So in the new one, they're calling it the iSight camera at the back with a 5 megapixel with autofocus and tap to focus with face detection. And they've bumped up the video to 1080p. But they have not changed the front facing camera at all. It's the same VGA quality and it records at 30 frames per second. Now let's go to the in terms of dimensions, the height and the width is still the same in the Wi-Fi model, and the depth has increased by a millimeter. Like, it was 8.8 millimeters and now it's 9.4. So in terms of inches, it's gone up by 0.3 inches. Sorry, I had to quickly work that out. So it's gone up by 0.3 inches. It's gone heavier than before. So it's gone from 100. It's gone from 601 grams, which is 1.3 pounds, to 652 grams, which is 1.44 pounds. So it's gone up by 0.10 pounds. I don't know if you'll notice that. Maybe it's a bigger battery. Now in the Wi-Fi and 4G model or 3G, it depends where you live. If you're in America and there's 4G, it's going to be called Wi-Fi plus 4G. In the UK, we still don't have 4G, but I'll get onto why they're still calling it 4G in a minute. So height and width is the same. Depth is 9.4 as the Wi-Fi, and this one weighs even more. This one weighs 662, which is 1.46 pounds compared to the previous one, which weighed 613 grams, which is 1.35 pounds. So again, a bump to 0.11 pounds. Colors will still be the same. You'll get both black and white. Wi-Fi is still the same, apart from that they've now got 4G, and it's got Bluetooth 4.0. Battery life is the same, 10 hours. And amazingly, they've still got the 9 hours of web surfing on 4G. A lot of people were saying that battery life will be compromised highly if they bring in 4G, but they've managed to keep it up. So now let's go to prices. They've got the iPad 2 only in 16 gigs, which is for £329. In terms of dollars, I don't really know, to be honest, because I'm not in America. But I'll put the prices of the of it in dollars in the description. And the Wi-Fi plus 3G will be $429, but that's not what we want to hear about. We want to hear about the new one. So the new iPad Wi-Fi will be available in 16, 32, and 64 gigs. 16 gig Wi-Fi only for $399. 32 gig Wi-Fi only for $479, and the 64 gig Wi-Fi $559. Now going down to Wi-Fi and 4G, $499 for 16 gig, $579 for 32, $659 for 64. Okay, now let me tell you why they're still calling it why it's 4G for the UK, even though there's no 4G yet. Apart from O2 that are trialing it and talks of 3 trying to get it as soon as possible. Basically, what Apple did is, rather than make a 4G model for America, a 3G model for another country, a 2G model, I don't know if there is still 2G. But basically, let me just quickly turn on caffeine in case my display turns off. So rather than make multiple models, they just kept the 4G, and because it helps with their costs and it makes it cheaper for them to get the chipsets for 4G. So they've just rolled that out everywhere. 4G is the only kind of iPad you can get. Even if you've got 3G in your country and you haven't got 4G, still you can stick in a 3G SIM and it'll work. But I guess that's good for the long run, I think. So if your country or if the UK brings out 4G anytime soon, we can take advantage of that rather than having to say, oh my god, we're stuck with a 3G iPad and we have to wait for the next one so that Apple can introduce 4G throughout the world. So they've done that here. So rather than having to wait, we've got 4G ready for whenever our country is ready to roll out 4G worldwide. Worldwide, I mean nationwide. So if you want a bit more tech specs on the iPad 3, this is where you can go. So this is basically what I said already. The display is a Retina display, 9.7-inch screen, LED backlit glossy widescreen, multi-touch display. The storage is Wi-Fi is 1632 and 64, and same with the 4G one. Okay, now let me tell you what I was talking about in terms of the A5X. The A5X chip has a dual-core, custom-built high-performance, low-power with quad-core graphics. That's basically what I was saying. It's basically what I've been over. If inputs, a 30-pin connector to charge. There were rumors that they might make it smaller. They haven't. They've stuck with this. And the same 3.5mm headphone jack with built-in speakers. I will be interested to see if the speakers are any better. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. And then a microphone, and obviously with the 4G one, you have your micro SIM card tray. And then the sensors, accelerometer, ambient light sensor to dim down the brightness depending on where you are, or increase it. Gyroscope, and then you've got your Wi-Fi digital compass, and then on the 4G one you've got Wi-Fi digital compass, assisted GPS, and 4G. And then that's just audios, TV and video, and just languages, accessibilities. What comes in the box is your iPad, obviously. See, even on here they haven't said iPad 3 or iPad 2 or anything. They've just said the iPad, your dock connector, and your power adapter in the documentation. And these are the apps that will come built in with your iPad: Safari, Mail, iMessage, Photos, FaceTime, Newsstand, App Store, iTunes, Videos, Maps, Music, Game Center, Photo Booth, YouTube, Contacts, Reminders, Calendar, Notes, and Camera. And in the event they did update the Apple TV. Let me quickly show you that if I can find it. If you go to the store, see, there's the iPad. Get it, people. Here's the new Apple TV. Same price. The update is that you can watch 1080p HD films, play Netflix, YouTube, and Vimeo videos, watch MLB games, live or on demand, enjoy your music and photos from iCloud. So they've brought photo stream to the Apple TV. Stream your OS device via AirPlay. We already knew that. That was in the previous one. Shipping date is 16 March. That is when it comes out, same as the iPad. Will I be getting one? Maybe. I don't know. Because I've got the first generation iPad, and I didn't bother upgrading to the second generation because, to me personally, all I saw was cameras. But this time around, there's a display, there's quad-core graphics. Okay, there was dual-core before, but that can just be another thing. But a lot of people said that they might, on Twitter, the people that I follow, most of them were saying that they might just get the Apple TV rather than the iPad. But I think they'll come around. You know who you are. You say you won't get it, but then you end up getting it. So I'm not going to say whether I'm getting it or not. If I get it, I get it. If I don't, I don't. If you see an unboxing, that means I got it. If you don't see an unboxing, that means I didn't get it. So yeah, sorry I'm speaking so fast, but it's a habit. So, let's wrap this up. iPad. Retina display. Same dual-core processor with quad-core graphics. They introduced they've got iLife on the iPad, so that's iMovie, GarageBand, and they introduced iPhoto. I'll put links of iPhoto and all the demonstrations down below. If you want to watch the keynote, I'll put a link to that as well as soon as it's out. And that's about it. Will you be getting an iPad 3 or the new iPad? Will you have to go into the shops and say, "Hi, I'd like to buy an iPad. Which one? iPad 2? No, the new iPad?" It'll be interesting to see how new buyers are doing. On a separate note, I saw Soldier Best on Instagram. He posted a photo of people looking at the iPad 2 just before, this was yesterday. So, I hope they didn't buy one. Soldier, if you're watching this, let me know if they did. Well, I don't know if you were there long enough to know if they did, but hopefully they didn't, and now they know that there's a new iPad. If they did, they'll want to punch it. But then again, the iPad 2, just because there's a new iPad doesn't mean the iPad 2 is rubbish. I mean, I'm running an iPad 1 and it still does everything I need it to perfectly. But I think it's time for an update, so that's why I'm going for one. So that's it, guys. That's the new iPad, Retina display and all. I'll see you again another time in another video. Take care. Oh yeah, and like, comment, subscribe. You know the score. See ya.